Okay, hang on a minute. Dad, when you would go to Mass, Catholic Mass, did
Mhm.
the priest leading it ever read from the Bible?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No,
During-
he did not. We have our
Never?
own. We have our own Bible.
Okay.
Or not Bible. We have our own book that has gospels in it, but they're not from the Bible. They're from the.
Okay, we got to move on. This is absurd.
Well-
Let's move on to our next topic. The grand jury that would not indict the Dems. This week, a federal grand jury in Washington, D.C. refused to indict the 6 Democratic lawmakers who appeared in a video urging members of the U.S. military and intelligence community that they must refuse unlawful orders, despite
Mark
Trump calling
Kelly.
the video. Mom, do you accept the grand jury's decision to not indict Mark Kelly and these other Democrats?
Yes, but I think his has been appealed. I think it's going to go on with him, but the rest were no.
But you accept it.
Yes.
Okay, well, a federal judge said that Donald Trump sexually assaulted E. Jean Carroll, so why don't you believe that?
That was not federal, that was civil.
But just because it's civil isn't a reason to not accept it. Because, for example, 40% of the people undocumented are in the country and they've overstayed a visa, which is a civil violation, not a criminal violation, because they didn't unlawfully enter the country. So under your view, then you wouldn't say that any of them should be able to be kicked out of the country because they have only violated civil law?
Yeah, to me, civil law is much more important.
Huh?
I mean,
Well,
federal.
Hang on. I like where Parker's going with this. So you're saying that civil basically is like kind of irrelevant. It's not as significant as
I'm
federal.
not saying irrelevant, but I'm saying federal is the
Right.
over civil.
Civil
But do you accept
lawsuits
determinations
need to
from
be
civil
brought
courts?
up and taken to court? And none of these. Where are all these women that have supposedly civil suits?
No, they tried to indict them with a grand jury.
He's gonna
And it
get
failed, which is like hard to do. Grand juries usually will indict literally fucking anyone. There's a famous thing about they'll indict a ham sandwich.
First of all, that's not every case, but you just assume it applies to every.
To see if this
You want
goes
to talk
on.
about people who just make shit up as they go along? We're with 3 of them.
Right. Let's move on to.
Actually, before we do, can
Sorry,
I run
go ahead.
run that one point again? So
Please.
the point I was making was that you'd have to essentially say that 40% of people who are in the country undocumented should be allowed to stay because they are only violating civil law and not criminal law.
Okay.
Unless you accept the
40% of people
determinations
in
from
this
civil
country
courts.
are undocumented. That's horseshit.
No.
What?
No.
What? Okay, but like they violated civil law. So if you accept the determinations from civil courts, then why don't you accept the determination in a civil court against Donald Trump for sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll?
Why do I not accept it? Because it was all made up and propaganda.
But
Because it's against Trump.
So couldn't you say the same thing
That's
for
not
all the
case in-
undocumented
that's not
immigrants?
the case when you're 40% of illegals.
Yeah, there's just a mental block. It's the cult shit. It's like Donald Trump can do no wrong.
Yeah,
No matter what you
it's-
say, it doesn't fucking matter. You can have a federal fucking indictment. They don't give a shit.
Girl, we'll find out who's right and who's wrong.
Little
here in the next
girl.
10 years.
Well,
You-
so let me
you
ask you this question: like, what piece of evidence would you accept that would determine that Donald Trump has engaged in behaviors like this?
There isn't any evidence you can come up with because he didn't do
Okay,
it.
so that's okay. So when your kids call you cult members, that's why. Like, I'm genuinely being serious right now. I'm trying to talk to you one on one right now. Like, that's why. Because if you're unwilling to accept any reason to justify
like
a certain
the three
point
of you.
that to be
Just
wrong
like
about your
you.
political position, listen.
I'd
Any point
argue
that's
with
wrong
you.
about your
Dad,
political position
chill. Dad,
means
listen
you
to
are
what he's saying.
unwilling- You are unwilling to hear out other opposing sides, which means that you're stuck in your one belief system and one way of looking at it, and you are unwilling to see
And
any
you're
other
not.
perspective. You
And
think that
you're
you're
not.
right and everyone else is
That's
wrong, and no one else
bullshit.
could possibly be right.
Is it
When you
true?
look at that entire group of women in that courthouse behind Pam Bondi, is it really that hard for you to believe them?
No, I believe them.
Wait,
'Cause
if
it
you
won't
believe
be
them, why
Trump.
don't you believe the 26 plus women that have accused Donald Trump of sexual misconduct? Why are they all
20
lying?
And there's 26. Why are they lying?
Is that in Epstein
That's a
files?
good.
I'm Ron Burgundy?
No.
Is that in
This isn't in the Epstein
Epstein
files. These are people that have
Answer
accused
that for
Trump.
me. You're admitting that they're lying. So why are they lying?
Where was
No,
that
I
at?
never said they were lying. I asked you if you think that they're lying. Every single one of
Yes.
them.
Where was those
Every
women?
damn one.
Where are those names? Are those women in the Epstein files?
Why do
No,
they
they're
have
not
to
in the
be-
Epstein files. Yeah, these are women that have accused Donald Trump of sexual misconduct throughout the past 30 plus years, right? Going back into the 80s, where people have accused him of sexual misconduct.
Oh, so it has nothing to do with Epstein.
He's
I
also in
wasn't
the
talking about
Epstein
Epstein.
files more than anyone else. There are, I think, very credible allegations in the Epstein files against him for a variety of
He
things,
does like
including
blowing shit over.
sexually
When
assaulting
you
children.
stack up the amount of times that we have heard Donald Trump's name associated with sexual assault, it's astounding. And so for you to ignore it, I think, for us, is just incredibly frustrating. Because if it was anyone else, you'd eat it up. But it's Donald Trump, so you fucking
No.
refute.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see it. I
I mean-
didn't read that.
I want to ask you this, Mom, about Trump in the Epstein files. You believe that almost all of the other allegations, all of the other documents that point at certain public figures, you believe those to be true and credible in the Epstein files, right?
Again, I guess. Yes, I guess
Okay.
so.
Trump is mentioned more than any of those other people.
We've
and for
been
some
over that.
reason, for
I've read
him,
some.
the burden of proof is higher for you. Why is that?
Because he's president of our United States.
No, God!
We did that episode where I literally read you where he is, in quotes, mentioned committing horrific acts against children in the Epstein files, and you're like, well, that was
That-
just a tip line. That isn't
No.
real. You
And
disconnect
then
at some
I
point, and you're like,
researched. You always say I never researched. I researched all this stuff about the tip line.
Right.
Well, things that weren't investigated, for example, was someone who was driving them, and he overheard Epstein and them talking about abusing some young girl, and like they never investigated further upon that. So I guess that's a claim that you
Very
could say that
normal.
hasn't been investigated further upon, that
Makes
hasn't
sense.
been
And-
disputed in there. And also one
See,
thing I would say is that if
that
they haven't
makes it
released
real.
most of the
Very
files, all of the most incriminating stuff has yet to be released. So
I hope-
I
I
would
hope we
expect them
see
to
more.
release some stuff that they could try to find a way to dispute
You ever think
an
there's
FBI tip where they
anything
were
to
able to like
release?
show that
Oh,
that
he's
wasn't the
saying
case or
there
something,
is.
right?
No,
Because of the fact
he
that
doesn't
someone was
know.
under a psychotic break, for example. That's
He's
expected that they
guessing.
would put it under this drop to make people
Heard it
think that
from
it's
a
ridiculous
chauffeur.
and absurd. And then all the rest of the incriminating stuff still has yet to be released. And they're
I
trying to
hope
act
there
like
is
it's been
more.
completely released
I
so that
hope-
they don't have to ever release them.
You gotta be
Yes, I
shitting
hope
me.
there is more and it's all credible. And like in the limousine, if we get the name of that person, whatever, they need to come forward. so
they
that we
have
can
come
help
forward.
these
They told
victims.
the FBI, and now they're not investigating it. That's the whole
The
point
name.
of this.
Do we have a name?
You ain't got shit.
Okay, Dad, you were trying to interrupt Parker there and kind of mumbling under your breath. What were you
Well,
saying?
I'm tired of it.
Somebody call the ambulance.
Cool.
Please be nice. Please, God.
I mean, I'm talking to three cult communists.
What
and I'm
what
not-
cult do you think we're in? What God do we pray to in our
You're
cult?
You're in a cult of communism.
Who's
He
our
thinks
cult
you're all
leader?
liberals.
Who's
You're
our
all
cult leader?
communists.
You're all liberals.
Who's
So we're
our
all
cult
not
leader?
communists and we all are liberals, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, you're
We're
all liberals.
communist,
like,
liberal
you're all
cult
communist.
members who pray to no God.
First of all, I'm not going to debate somebody who probably wasn't even alive when 90% of this shit happened.
What does that have to do with anything?
He's
Well,
more
I mean, like-
knowledgeable in his 23 years of life than you are.
Oh, you think?
I do.
Yeah, wait, you want to test that?
Oh yes.
I
Yeah.
don't have to have a test. I'm 70 years old. I know a lot more about life than
No,
he
I'm
does.
saying, what do you have a question or something? Do
You
you have
can't
something that
fix
could convince
No, ask
you
a question
that
he would
Parker
not know.
knows his shit?
Okay,
Gotta
what
do
was
it.
the Vietnam War all about?
Well, from the American side, it was to limit the expansion of communism around the world, or ideologically communism around the world.
Oh
Who?
boy.
Who
What
was
about
it against?
what about
Viet
LBJ
Cong?
and the oil?
Give me a name.
The Viet Cong and the Soviet Union and China specifically expanding their spheres of influence in terms of
You tell
communistic
me.
ideology.
You tell me who in North Vietnam started the war in South Vietnam, and I want a name of an individual who.
Oh, I'm not
lived
going to
in
know
North
them off the top of my
Vietnam.
head.
He said he doesn't.
Do you know
know.
the
don't
name of the
fucking
person who
know.
started
Let me
World
help
War
you
One?
out.
Be nice. Be
Ho
nice.
Chi Minh. Ho
No.
Chi Minh.
Okay.
Wait, I have a question. Do you know the name of the person who started World War One?
That was German. Would have been Kaiser.
No.
Who?
So it was an Austrian specifically, right? That led to it. There was with Ferdinand, I think the name was Archduke Ferdinand. Was specifically that led. The point I'm making is that just because you don't remember one person's name from a historical point doesn't mean that you can't bring anything to the
Dude,
table in terms
you
of
don't
legitimate
understand.
information.
The Vietnam War. Ho Chi
Dude.
Minh. Ho Chi
Like,
Minh
okay,
probably
hold
the
up.
most
I don't know one
famous
person's
person of
name
all.
in the Vietnam War, therefore he can dispute everything that I've
Yes.
ever said.
This is
Yes.
absurd.
Oh,
Dad,
By the way, I
Never-
didn't get a degree in history. I got a degree in
There you
economics.
go,
No,
run
no.
your fucking mouth again.
Bob,
What I'm pointing
Bob.
out is you don't know specifics of shit.
okay.
Really, I do. I want to bet on that. Like, how about this? How many
No.
people are in the House of Representatives?
425.
35. You were close. You were
Oh,
close though.
it
How many
was
continents
close.
are there?
How many what?
How many continents
Oh my
are there?
God. This
How
is like
many
Nick
what?
Vial.
How many
Again.
continents are there?
Continents.
Don't know that.
Don't know that.
All right.
There's 7 continents.
There's one. It's flat. Listen, we can do
You're-
this
I-
kind of
I'm
like
glad
back and
you were
forth, who
there.
knows
I'm
what about
sorry.
facts and playing Jeopardy and
sorry.
stuff,
I'm
but it
not.
doesn't
Next
matter.
time you bring somebody in
It's
here,
just
make it credible.
it's absurd because Parker literally makes a living
Yes.
doing this. Okay,
He's
it's
obsessed.
what he does. So to kind of minimize how smart he is,
And that's the final kind of like step of your debate here. I think that like Parker has made some very good points. He has presented evidence. There were a couple of times where you were both just like staring into space after he'd ask a question because you had no answer.
No, I
And
was
now your
doing that on
final
purpose.
strategy in debate is to try and undermine his credibility by
I
saying,
was staring into
tell me some weird
space
random
on
fact, you know.
purpose.
Yeah, like ironically, I think what you've actually demonstrated in this podcast is immaturity in being able to deal with political disagreements, because you can't take into account any other perspective other than your own. And when someone else, even someone who's younger than you can't take into account the
is
fact
that
that
right?
maybe they could know something that you possibly
You
don't
talk
know,
about
or maybe they could teach you
political
about something that
immaturity.
possibly you don't
You're
know.
the one
And I think that's an
showing the
immaturity that
immaturity
allows
here.
for you to not get into
You have
disagreements that
immature
allow for you to
debate
like
skills,
then change your
son.
mind. And that's why you're cutting me off right now instead of letting me actually speak and listening and trying to hear me out. You do the same thing with your kids as
I've
well.
been
Like you
listening
don't
to
listen to
the
them
same
because of
shit
their
for an
age.
hour.
You completely disregard what they have to say because of their liberal beliefs, and you don't take into account anything they have to think because it's opposing to what you think already, which is immature in terms of your ability to
Are
disagree
you
with
gonna
people and
shut
your
up
ability to
at
change your
any
mind.
point, Steve?
And
it's
even
right
that,
though. It's right though. You guys
Yes.
have a tendency to just drown us out because we're your kids and you don't perceive us to be intelligent in any fucking
Well, he
regard.
ain't any better. Trust me.
No, you are brilliant. Okay,
But like,
don't
have you had
don't
the time to
listen.
be able to identify that? Like, you didn't look into who I am. You didn't have the ability to identify that. We haven't talked about, the policies of each administration
Oh
or
my
why you
God.
support each
Well,
candidate.
your time's up
And you're going to make
anyway,
that
so
determination
shut
based
the
upon the
pie
fact that I'm
hole.
liberal and young.
I didn't know that you were going to be on the show. I would have Googled you and found out more.
Come on, man.
I think you genuinely have showed that you want to change your mind to some
No,
degree and you
you
want to
didn't.
look into things and you want to do research. Now, we might not be able to change your mind right away, but it does seem like you're at least somewhat engaging in good faith, right? Like that's my point there. I don't want to
Yes.
be like you're doing
All right,
bad or
it's
bad
5
there.
after,
But the
Chad.
dad
Shut
is like
him up and
actually
get him
100% unwilling.
this is 100% accurate.
Yes.
Well, Parker, thank you so much for joining us. Mom, I love you. Thank you for doing this. Sorry that I did put in the email that Parker was going to be on the show today and
I
put a link to his
didn't
social
read-
media.
I
so you
didn't get to
could
the
check him
email.
out.
It's been a long week. I didn't read the email.
Okay,
I
my
apologize.
apologies on that one. Dad, I do love you despite the fact that you seem to hate us all.
Nice
I love
meeting you,
you,
Haley. Nice
Haley.
meeting you, Chad. Nice
Yeah.
meeting you, Mom.
Love Mary Lou,
Oh.
and I love the 2 communist kids.
Okay.
And
What
thanks
about
for-
Parker?
Don't love Parker.
Wait, so are you
Parker,
indifferent
thank-
or do you hate me?
No, we don't hate you.
Oh, I do.
Somebody else had some hard limits. They texted me.
We're not doing under 30 years of age. We're not.
Dad issued me an ultimatum via text after today's show that he will quit the show if we ever have anybody under 30 years of age on the show again.
Why can't we have 20 somethings on the show? That makes no sense.
Him talking fast, talking over us, to me, that's a little bit rude and disrespectful.
That's
I
just
know
how he
he's-
talks.
I'm not
Mom.
talking to a little punk like
Mom.
what happened
Mom.
today. And afterwards, I thought about it and I was like saying to Dad, he should have been more respectful.
Okay. Hang on a minute, Mom. You're talking about people talking over you and being respectful. Dad literally calls us communists, tells us he wants us to die, interrupts
You're our
everybody all the
family.
time.
We can do that.